Hey guys, MD Prepper here, talking more about the Gerber Bear Grylls line of blades and survival gear. This is the ultimate fixed blade survival knife by Gerber, which of course has all the Bear Grylls markings on it. Let me first of all say that it's a decent knife. There's nothing wrong with it, especially for somebody starting out and prepping in survival or bushcraft or hiking, camping, etc. Is it the ultimate blade? Maybe not, but it's a good blade overall. There's some things about it I like, there's some things about it I don't. So let's start here by getting the sheath out of the way, which we'll talk about in a minute. The sheath is one of its finer selling points, I'd say. The blade itself is listed as high carbon stainless steel. You can strike a ferro rod with it, etc. We'll show you that in a minute. Overall, this blade is going to cost you around about $40 if you look around. I've seen them for higher, around $50 to $60. If you look around, you're going to find them for $40, $45 if you do your homework. So, stats on this thing: overall length of the entire blade and the handle is 10 inches. The blade is 4.8 inches long. It's half serrated. You see that right there. Just like the rest of the Bear Grylls Gerber line of blades, they're all half serrated from what I've seen, other than little knives on their multi-tools and such. Now, I'm not a huge fan of serrated blades or half serrated blades, but they have a place for your starter, your rookies, your person who's not going to be using the knife a whole lot. Serrated's perfectly decent for cutting rope or vine or cordage or what have you. Nothing wrong with that. The only thing about the half serrated blades, they're going to cut down on your ability to do finer work here on the insides. I prefer a straight plain edge blade like a lot of guys do. Not bad though. There's nothing wrong with this. I've carried half serrated and full serrated blades for years and loved them. I just personally prefer plain edge blades overall. I find serrations hard to sharpen without the proper gear. Rest of the stats on this, like I said, 4.8 inch blade. I think that is perfect. Anywhere between 4 to 5 inches for a fixed blade for bushcraft, survival, and all that, I think is tremendous. This thing is full tang, runs all the way down. Test it with my magnet. Weights on this thing, it is 11.2 ounces for just the blade here. And it is 14.7 ounces with the blade and the sheath. But we'll talk about the sheath after a while here. So, a little heavy, but not ridiculously so for a fixed blade, open carry on your hip style knife. Drop point blade. Get that nice little gray style protective covering on the blade, front and back. So nothing wrong with that. Little Bear Grylls signature and Gerber here up on the back of the blade there. You notice on the back side there, you see that right there? That is for striking your ferro rod on. We'll talk about that in a second. That's a nice addition. That's already worn off for you. You flip it around here and it's got this little fire symbol, so that maybe you don't get stupid and forget that. Personally, I think that's a little hokey, a little corny there. It's fine, not a problem, but good Lord, you should know what that's for. And if you don't, well, it sucks to be you. Drop point blade, lots of functions there. No problems. Blade seems fairly durable. Like I said, full tang, you could baton with this if you needed to. No problems there. Comes with the very excellent rubberized grips here in the Bear Grylls line, like the rest of their knives. I love the grips on these. If I had to pick one thing about this knife that stands out among other fixed blades, or just knives in general, these are nice and grippy, nice and sticky. Not overly so, but good enough for wet hands or sweaty hands or bloody hands, etc. Same kind of pattern as the rest of your Bear Grylls line there. No problem at all. You've got some holes up front. You got 2 holes drilled in the front of the grip and into the metal. You can't really see it, but trust me, the blade goes all the way around those. So that's going to be secure. And you got this back here. You got a 3rd hole on the back side where the lanyard's at. We'll talk about the lanyard here in a second as we move our way down. But these little 3 holes are going to be nice if you ever need to lash this thing to a shaft to make a spear or something like that. A little wide with the grips on, but they feel very comfortable in your hand. Nothing wrong with that at all. If for some reason the grips ever broke or fell apart or what have you, you could still wrap cordage around it, what have you, attach it, make it a spear, anything you want to. Is it going to be the most usable spear with these big grips on it? Maybe not, but hey, anything's better than nothing. So that's a nice option overall. Moving on down the blade, we already said it's that nice blaze orange color from Bear Grylls. A lot of people badmouth that, a little too flashy. It is flashy, but if I drop it in a stream, something like that, drop it in some high brush or grass, I can probably find the thing again. Again, you got the lanyard hole on the back side here, which obviously has a lanyard on it. We'll talk about it in a second. Got a little metal butt cap here on the back side, which can be used to hammer things in if you needed to. The first line run of these had some problems with those breaking off exceptionally easily, but from what I've read, that has improved notably. I've had no problems with mine, though I don't tend to use my fixed blades as hammering tools. But it's a nice little option. It's there if you want it. Nice addition here on the blade is this little lanyard here. The lanyard is not going to be useful for wrapping around your hand and holding the blade, so I would kind of like that to be a little longer and could make one longer if I needed to with paracord or whatnot. But you got a little whistle here on the back side. Little whistle is very nice to have around. You're not going to lose it. Very compact, fairly loud. I'm not going to bother blowing it here indoors. That's just silly. You can't appreciate it anyway. It's reasonably loud. Again, small, lightweight. Again, also got that nice little bright orange color, so you're going to see it when you need it. So overall, a nice, decent blade. Again, not the best fixed blade in the world. I, again, would not call it the ultimate fixed blade. I'd call it a darn useful fixed blade for your first time user or just somebody who likes the Bear Grylls and wants to get into bushcraft. Nothing wrong with that. Like I say, anybody I can get into it for whatever reason, that's fine. You know, prepping, survival, self-reliance. I personally prefer to call it self-reliance, but anyway, not a bad blade. Let's go into the sheath. The sheath stands out. Very nice sheath overall. Nylon, Cordura, etc. You've got a little Velcro snap up here for the top to secure the blade. I don't tend to use that. I keep it snapped down just in the plastic sheath down here. It's got a little rubberized feel to it. You know, nice texture. So if it's wet, you got to grab it. It's gonna be good at pulling the blade out. Personally, from my preference, I think it holds in here just fine with your clip right here. I don't necessarily need the Velcro up top. Maybe if I was moving through high brush or lots of crazy heavy terrain, maybe I might do that, but I just don't tend to. I think it secures in just fine as it is. And it might loosen up over time, but I've not had any issues with it. Again, it's black, a little bit of gray, and of course some blaze orange markings. Let me show you that up close. Gerber, etc. Show the back side here in a second, but we'll talk about the front first. Most interesting thing about this is it has a ferro rod with it. It's right here. Got that little fire symbol on it. Don't know if you can see that in the camera. That matches up with the fire symbol on the back side of the blade here. So this thing points downward, which I think is a bit of a hit against it. Grab it by the little finger grooves and it popped right out. So there's your little fire rod, ferrocerium rod right there. Hope you can see that. A little bit of rubberized here on the orange pull tabs on it. That's fine. I would not hold it that way. I wouldn't hold it this way to strike a fire. I just hold it like a proper ferro rod and strike on it, okay? I do like the fact they had the lanyard hole here on the back side. That is a must. This thing fits in here securely, at least when you start out. Use this thing more and more, I worry about this thing falling out. It's going to be small, it's lightweight, traipsing through the brush. You know, if something catches this thing time and time again, slowly works it out, the thing happens to fall, you're going to have a hard time finding this thing again. So, what I would recommend, I actually had that on this blade, I just took it off, or the sheath anyway. I did have some cordage through this hole and wrapped around here at the base, just in case it ever did happen to fall off. You know, if it did fall out, it wouldn't go real far, it would still just dangle here. So, I would do that if I was going to do this. I really, really would think, personally, that it would be better flipped around. It's not going to be as easy to pull out or as convenient to pull it from the top with the little fastener up here on the top, but it's going to be a lot more secure, a lot less likely to fall out. If it was oriented 180 degrees, even if this thing did happen to pop loose, it's not likely to work its way all the way up and out. So, minor complaints on my part, but that's what I would have done. Like I said, secure this thing with some cordage, something like that. You'd be good to go. What else we have on the front side? Well, this isn't quite the front side, it's more the inside. Right here, where it's got the little Bear Grylls signature. Velcro, you flip it open. Oh, look what you got there. Diamond sharpening stone. Very nice little addition for your blade. It's angled to take some of the work out there for you. I think that's very nice. I've not used this one blade in particular very often. And honestly, I would have to say that a sharpening stone is nice, but for your average camper or guys out in the field or using this for a 72-hour kit, you're not going to need to sharpen your blade with just 72 hours of use, probably. You're probably going to be fine. For longer term use or any other kind of knives you're going to need, a little diamond sharpening stone is nice. Nice little addition. Not necessary, but there it is if you need it. No problems with that at all. I like the fact that it's attached to the sheath, going to give you a good sturdy base to work with as opposed to just those little pocket stones you get with a lot of other Bowie knives or whatnot you find out there. So you're going to, of course, have to take this off your sheath to use it, or off your belt rather, to be accessible, but that's fine. Let's talk about the back side here. You've got your Alpine rescue signals, SOS, etc. All that information like you have on all the others that I've talked about before. Two ways to wear this thing. Number one, you got your standard belt loop right there. Don't know if you can see that. I would have preferred it the bigger, thicker loop here, but it's not. It's okay. It's stitched in fairly well. And you got two loops. One right here and one right back here if you want to horizontally carry this. I would not. This is a little too big. I just don't think this would be particularly comfortable in that style of carry, for me anyway. Maybe on a pack or something, but I don't know. I'm into vertical carry. Always have been. So, a nice sheath overall. That's the only complaint is that upside down ferrocerium rod. Whatever. It's probably fine for most people and most purposes, but I would just worry about my travails and the things I do. That thing's going to pop out. Now, this one also comes with that little Priorities of Survival little pack, which I do not have sitting around here. Oh, wait. Take it back. Yes, I do. Little Priorities of Survival. Again, decent, lightweight. If you know what you're doing out in the woods, you're okay. But if you don't, or you're worried about getting panicked or somebody else is, it's lightweight, it's easy. Nothing wrong with it. Good reminders. So, overall, here's the blade. Decent. For 40 bucks, it's fine. If I was looking for something for more of a non-beginner, I would probably say the Condor Rodan or something along those lines, Condor Bushcrafter or Bush Lore. In the right hands, the blade itself is probably going to be more usable overall than this one. But for general purpose, the fire starting, the sharpening, good sheath, etc., the whistle, again, this covers a lot of ground. It does for about 40 bucks. It's not a bad blade. It's absolutely not. Not going to beat the grips on it compared to anything else I've seen out there. It's very, very decent. Again, for a skilled bushman, no. Probably not what they're going to pick. But for somebody just getting out or some kids or somebody who likes the show for Bear Grylls or whatnot, or what used to be the show, I don't see any problems with it. Not a bad blade. As much as people badmouth it, it's fine. So I've got another one I've used a fair amount. No problems there for basic camp chores and wilderness uses. Anyway, MB Prepper, out.